going on? I'm Tim Kelly. This is The Real Sports Talk. Thank you guys for tuning in. Continuing my top 32 quarterback list, saving you from Ron Jaworski's list that, again, I don't think too many of us agreed with a lot of the selections. So far, I've done 3. At number 32, I had Nick Foles of the Philadelphia Eagles. At number 31, I had Chad Henne of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then at 30, I had Christian Ponder of the Minnesota Vikings. Coming in at 29 is Kevin Kolb, now of the Buffalo Bills, formerly of the Arizona Cardinals last year, the last 2 seasons, and then the Philadelphia Eagles prior to that. So he's on to his 3rd team. And he's likely, I think he's pretty likely to get the start from Doug Marrone this year, the new coach coming out of Syracuse. I think he gets a chance to start because a lot of people feel like E.J. Manuel may have actually been the best overall talent quarterback-wise, more than Geno Smith, more than guys like Matt Barkley in last year's draft. But the thing is, he's going to have to take some time, a year, maybe 2 or 3 even, to develop in the NFL. And Kevin Kolb is a nice insurance policy that they do have. Bringing him in, I believe that Kevin Kolb, for the very least, will get a chance to start this year, and who knows beyond that. I think the days of seeing too many guys get drafted and sit on the bench for more than a season or even half a season, those days have come and gone. But at the same time, if Doug Marrone wants to or doesn't feel that E.J. Manuel is ready, then I think he is best served sitting and learning the system, learning the ways of the NFL. And I think Kevin Kolb is a guy that can hold it over in the meantime. Kevin Kolb made no bones about it. When they held the press conference, he said that he was in Buffalo to try and win a championship. And it sounds funny to us. I mean, the idea of Kevin Kolb holding up a Super Bowl trophy, I mean, for me as an Eagles fan, that sounded like a pipe dream about 3 or 4 years ago. But the idea of Kevin Kolb realistically holding up a Lombardi trophy, it sounds funny, but as an athlete, that's what you should be thinking coming into a new situation. I like that. I like the fact that Kevin Kolb, at least when he talks, has always displayed confidence. I think the thing that he's always had issues with, and Tommy Kelly pointed it out of the Raiders a few years ago, is that there's times on the field where he just doesn't seem comfortable at all, and he's never been behind. He was never behind a very good line in Arizona, so I think that may have had something to do with it. Besides, Larry Fitzgerald just did not have a ton to work with in Arizona. I don't think anyone takes that away from Kevin Kolb, but there were times in Philadelphia where I saw him just not look comfortable behind an offensive line that had Jason Peters, had Todd Hermans. It was a pretty respectable offensive line, and he just did not seem comfortable. He had weapons, everything, and he seemed lost at times back there. But in the times that he does do good, I like his quick release. I like the fact that he's very good on short and intermediate routes. He does not have great arm strength. He's not someone that's going to be a gunslinger or throw the ball deep too much. He's more of a short passing type of quarterback, which is fine. You need to know that if you're Doug Marrone and you're trying to build this offense through him for at least this year. And the good thing for Kevin Kolb heading in this situation, not only do I think the defense improves this year with the draft pick that they have, which I believe is a defensive tackle. You got Mario Williams, I think he's going to have a better year in his 2nd year in Buffalo. But then you also have C.J. Spiller, who broke out last year, not only as a pass or as a running back, but also as a pass-catching back. And when he was able to stay healthy and be on the field, he was one of the more impactful players in the entire NFL because he could rush for 100 yards, and pretty consistently you would see him get 50 or 60 receiving yards as well. So you have that as a weapon, both out of the backfield and in the running game. You have Fred Jackson, who, yes, he's 32, but as the number 2 running back now, I don't think that there is a ton of pressure on Fred Jackson to be great. There's just to kind of change things up from C.J. Spiller. You have a 2 running back system, 2 guys that legitimately have displayed that they can be running backs in the NFL. Fred Jackson's the veteran, probably reaching the twilight of his career, but at the same time, he's someone who started later in his career, so he might have a little more miles left on those legs. And then you have Stevie Johnson as your best wide receiver. Not a ton of wide receiver depth, but I do like Scott Chandler at the tight end position. So we went through the first 3 with Foles, Henne, and Ponder. Foles is really the only one out of those 3 that I see being a long-term starter. I've just never been real high on Christian Ponder, and I think Kevin Kolb falls into the same type of boat as Chad Henne, a guy that last year when he was in Arizona last year, Kevin Kolb in 6 games had 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 81.6 passer rating, over 1,000 yards. Was 4-0, started 4-0, ended up 4-2, and then injuries cost him the rest of the season. I don't think he is necessarily an answer long term, but he had some success like Chad Henne last year, and you don't feel like you're completely throwing the season away by putting him in there. Is he a long-term answer for anyone at quarterback? Probably not. This is probably the last chance in my mind that he gets to be a starter anywhere at age 28. But I think long-term he will settle into being a pretty solid backup for whatever team he does go to. So Kevin Kolb for me, he's going to be the guy that is in front of E.J. Manuel, teaches E.J. Manuel the quarterback position, and then eventually E.J. Manuel will be the guy in Buffalo. But for now, Kevin Kolb comes in at 29 on my top 30 quarterback countdown for 2013.